Welcome to my channel on Cat Africa Live, a channel that brings you insights of African politics. I'm always your guy, Digraft Amwako. Yesterday, I promised I will be back here again today. Today, I want us to discuss something. Today, I want us to discuss very important issue that has been bothering me when we talk of democratic system. I want to understand how these democratic systems came about, because the democratic system we are practicing currently in Africa doesn't seem to make sense. The democratic system we are practicing currently in Africa doesn't seem to make sense, and I don't know how it was this democratic systems was founded or was able to come in place. Now, Ghana is about to go to an election in December this year, and the Ghana is practicing democratic system which has been practiced since 1992. But the manner we use for choosing the leaders that will govern this country don't seem to be looking like a democratic system. Now, in Ghana, if we are about to go for an election, what happens is we normally goes to they empower two political parties. Two political parties has been empowered in Ghana. I can only talk about Ghana because that is where I am and that is where I have all my experience. So normally what we do is when we are about to go for an election, what we do is we normally have two political parties, the strong two political party, which is the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Party. What happens is we will go and one of them will choose, not even one of them, most of them will go and pick a form, and that form will be picked and they will select some party members, only party members, to vote on this particular candidate. And when they are able to win this election is when the party will choose them as the party candidate. But one funny thing about this situation is normally the leaders that they picked them have the will to convince the delegates. We call them the delegates. These delegates, and what we have realized is most of the time they influence these delegates with money. They influence these delegates with money, and when they pay them all this money, they most of the times the one who have more money normally wins the election. That is what has been bothering me. That means there is the democratic system we are practicing is a fraud. That means the democratic systems we are practicing in Africa is fraud, because how on earth the people who lives in the country, the citizens, are not the one who choose which leader to rule them? It is some crooks, some greedy people, some selfish people that nominate someone for the citizens. So the citizens don't even have the options to select which leader to choose. Most of the times, the citizens don't have the options to select the leader to choose. The party will present you the one who was able to be chosen by their party members for you to vote on, for him to become your leader. And that is where all the corruption has come from. Because most of the times, the money they use for convincing their delegates, the huge money they use for campaigning or bribe their delegates to vote for them, and the same huge money that they spend on buying votes on election days has really triggered the corruption manner we find ourselves in Africa. So my question today is, do you think the democratic system we are practicing in Africa here is going to move this continent forward? Do you think the democratic systems we are fighting, we are practicing in Ghana or in other African countries, is going to help this country forward? I want you to share your opinion. I want you to share your comment in the comment section. I'll read it live here for you to. Today I want us to be, we have to exchange ideas. We will have to exchange ideas. The talking is becoming too much. We can't keep blaming others. We have to exchange ideas to understand the manner we find ourselves. So today we are addressing the democratic systems that we find ourselves in it. I don't believe, for me, with my opinion and with what I have experienced, I don't believe the democratic systems we are practicing in Africa is going to help this continent to develop. Yeah, Jason Turner Williams. Yes, love this. Yeah, thank you. And Mr. Kwabnaje, you are fraud. There were more party and the majority voted for the NPP and NDC. Yeah, the situation is, Mr. Kwabnaje, the parties, what is happening is, what I have realized across Africa, what I have realized across all the democratic systems we are practicing is, somehow along the line, two parties, they empower two parties. And if I tell you they empower, I don't want to mention them. Most Western countries has empowered two parties to be able to be choosing from, and these two parties has been influenced by tribalism. So most of the times, these parties has been empowered. They have been some forces somewhere putting money for two parties to control the scenario in Africa, whether you like it or not. That's how the CPP, the PPP, they don't have the back of the Western countries. That's what you should know. They don't have the back of the Western countries. So people pump money. People normally pumped money into all these two parties so that they can only be the one to be controlling the political systems in all these countries. So when you go to America, we have the Democrats, we have the Republicans. Whether you like it or not, it goes deeper than thinking that it's Ghanaians who chose them. It's what they have advertised for them. It's what, we have a lot of musicians, but we can only see musicians that has invested in themselves. That is something you have to understand. We have a lot of what do we call it? We have a lot of footballers, but we can only decide those who have been invested in themselves. And that's why I'm saying people normally choose what has been advertised for them. And that is why the CPP, the party like CPP and PPP, they are not that popular, because they are not the choosing one. In Ghana, the choosing ones are NPP and NDC. If I'm saying, if I'm speaking in parables, Mr. Kwamnaje, I'm speaking in parables. I don't want to mention names, but in Africa, most of the times, our political parties, that two political parties, are the one that has been certified to control the political systems. So in Ghana, we have the National Democratic Congress, and the New Patriotic Party, that has been the forces out there invest in these parties. That is why, and they know that these are the parties that can, that the probability of them becoming ruling the country is high. So the forces out there invest in these parties to control the political systems. So whether you like it or not, it's going to be NDC and NPP for a while, till maybe something strange happen or something miraculously happen to change the scenario. Otherwise, we are going to keep voting for the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress for a very long time, because they are the one which has been invested, they are the choosing one. We are being controlled. That's why I'm saying that the democratic systems we are practicing in Africa is a fraud. Because if you think we have a say, or if you think you don't have even a say, you don't even have a say of choosing a proper leader in your country. That is something you have to understand. You don't have a say of choosing a proper leader in your country, because the parties will go to their constituency to choose the leaders by delegates. Choosing the leaders through delegates, they need to bribe their way out before the delegates can vote for them. So with the few delegates, those who have the money can buy them out to become the main candidate for that particular party. You get it? To be able to see to be able to get the leader for that particular party. So we don't even have the option. You get it? We don't even have the options to choose our own leaders. The leaders are presented to us by the political parties for us to select between this party and this party. Africans, we don't have the say to say we are going to vote for the one who we think can win the election. So don't blame the people. Don't blame the people too much. It is a system that has been built. Until we change that particular system, we are going nowhere. Vote CCP. The CPP. If you say vote for CPP, who is the leader? The leader, the person who is going to lead the CPP, does he or she share the same ideas like Nkrumah? Now the party is there, but do they even share the same? Because people whom we know as CPP, who was the one following Nkrumah ideologies, somebody like Kwesi Pratt, he is now moving towards the NDC. He talks for the NDC. We have Kweku Bako, who is also talking for the NPP. You get the concept? So the ideology which was used to form the CPP, do you think is still alive? Don't think because it was a Nkrumah party, so they still believe in some ideologies. The whole system, what I'm trying to do is, the whole system of the democratic system we are practicing in Africa is a fraud. Because they don't even allow us to choose our leaders. They select the leaders for us to choose between two of them. So smoky days. So many people to choose from, and we get a contrast. That's the system. There's the whole democratic system that has been presented to us. Let me give you a perfect example. Now, Rwanda, everybody is applauding Rwanda because Rwanda, Mr. Paul Kagame has been able to develop Rwanda or pick Rwanda from the genocide which occurred in 1994. He has been able to pick this country and has turned the country's destiny around. And now Rwanda is one of the successful country or developed countries in Africa. Even though people still think he's a dictator, which, yeah, I've got friends from Rwanda who think Mr. Paul Kagame is a dictator. They think Mr. Paul Kagame is a dictator, but he's using a rule that is helping his country to develop. Yes, he's a dictator. He's doing some things. I've heard he has he has in any way suppressed his citizens, so the citizens can't even come out from their shells to think for themselves. That's why some people are calling me. He has suppressed his opposition parties. He has also, but what he's doing, whatever he's doing, whether it's true or false, what has been the outcome of this country? Because the things I've seen coming from Rwanda is applaudable. We have to applaud it, because the development things that are coming from Rwanda is amazing, which I think it makes sense, because I wish Africans should have been able to select which political system that can benefit them. I know a lot of things goes into all this political stuff, but Africans should have been able to select our own systems that can benefit us. We have to select our own system that can benefit us, because at the end of the day, the colonizers, when they were leaving, they left all these democratic systems, they left all this our educational systems, they left religion, and all these systems were imposed on Africans. These systems were imposed on Africans, and it has not made us move forward for centuries. So how about we trying to find our own path that can benefit Africans, so that we can say, okay, this is the systems that can help us. And that is exactly why I'm saying that Paul Kagame seems to should have the hack. He has been able to achieve the hack, because selecting from two different people, this one comes for 8 years, this one comes for 8 years, hasn't been helping our system. It's the systems we are practicing hasn't helped our system a bit. So why can't Africans sit down and select our own systems that can benefit us? Let's talk about even religion. Religion too. Now we were born into churches. We were born into religious groups. Now we can't even figure out how we can come out with our own. We are reading about it, and one thing the colonizers did was they demonized every African culture. Every African culture was demonized. They demonized our spirituality. They demonized our herbal medicines. They demonized our educational systems, and they were able to place all these. They were able to place all these systems. They placed their educational systems. They placed their political systems. They placed their religious systems, and we have been following these systems, and it has never helped us. It has never helped Africa. Africa still keep crawling. But anytime you ask questions about our way of practicing religion, you are going to be tagged as a demon. Anytime you ask questions about our political systems, they will tell you you don't understand the world politics. But has the systems helped develop Africa? Has the systems helped develop Africa? All the systems they left is still affecting ourselves, because Africans, like let me say, blacks on this earth don't even know. We don't even know our history. Our history has been wiped. We don't know where we came from. We don't know. Like blacks, recently I did a content about Mr. Asante Molife. I did a content and he asked these questions. He asked these questions that how come in America all the migrants that came there, the Europeans know exactly where they came from. Every European knows I came from Ireland. This one knows I came from Germany, but only all the blacks in America don't even know which tribes, which country I was picked from, which days I was picked from, because most of our histories has been relegated to wherever. We don't know our history. We keep following the white man's ideologies. We keep following the white man's culture. Everything we do, we do. We have to follow the white man's ideology, and that has affected us. That has affected us. You get it? That has affected us. And even those Kwabnaje has asked, they were slaves. So let's say you meant the black Americans or the African Americans were slaves. Okay, if they were slaves, so they won't be able to know which tribes they come from, or they won't be able to know where they come from. Okay, but even in Africa, ask yourself, our even history starts from colonialism. Our history, if you go to school, our histories we learn from schools starts from colonialism. We normally don't have any history to learn from school when it comes to before colonialism. What history do we learn in school? We don't learn anything apart from colonial masters. Then they will teach us. They have brainwashed us, and they even forced their language on us. They forced their culture on us. They forced, and even Kwabnaje, you can testify to this, that in Ghana, if you speak Twi, you speak the local dialect, you are seen as unintelligent. You are seen as unintelligent. So it's about time, Africa, we choose our own path. It's about time we choose our own path. These systems we are using, the democratic systems, all these systems we are using, is not benefiting Africa. It's not benefiting Africa. That is why recently the Burkina Faso Ibrahim Traore, when he made a coup in Burkina Faso, when it also happens in Niger, and it happens in Mali, people were hailing them, because it's about time Africa choose a path that will support us. You get it? So, Smokey Days, you are making something. We need that here as well. New systems of trust. Yes, because we need patriotics to be able to take over Africa. Because what we are experiencing now, recently, I did a content about an American representative. I think that's what they call him. His name is Matt Gaze. He was in their parliament house or something, saying that they are the one who train African coup leaders. So they don't understand how come they have trained African coup leaders and they have taken over, and they are trying to sack them from, they are trying to sack the US military base in Niger. Our systems were programming, and they are the one controlling our system. What is happening is, if Mr. Kwamnaji, if you are still there, there is something that we have to be very careful about, because since Since 1992, we have Africans has complained, or Ghanaians has complained about leadership. We have complained about leadership since 1992. We have been complaining about leadership up till now. Why do you think that is? There is no leader. There is no leader you are going to choose through the democratic systems that is going to develop this country. Because before this leader comes to power, he was sponsored by outside powers. Any leader that comes to power made deals with Western corporations. So anytime they come to power, how you get it? Anytime they come to power, they make sure that they satisfy their sponsors. So most of the times, when they are coming to power and they are being sponsored, what happens is they normally go to agreement with them when they come to power to control the natural resources, the mineral resources. They tells them, okay, with this support we are giving to you, we make sure that when you come to power, we are going to control your gold resources. We are going to control your lithium resources. So they normally go, when they comes to power, they don't have a say. So you will see that they become mute. So only thing they will be doing is just borrowing money for no reason. Because all your resources are being controlled by your sponsors. You end up borrowing money left and right, and that money borrowing is the one that also creates problem for every government. And that is why today Ghana is in the IMF program, because of unnecessary borrowing and unnecessary spending. We are going through a lot, and it's about time we sit down. Africans sit down. And if I'm saying that, that is also exactly, that is when it goes to the diasporans, the African Americans in diaspora. Their case is a little bit different, because most of them, they have programmed their systems to discriminate them. So it goes hand in hand. Whilst they are being discriminated in the US system, in Africa, they are also suppressing us to make sure that we do not rise up to the occasions. Most African leaders are puppets. Most African leaders are being controlled, all because they normally goes for money. They normally goes for loans when they are in opposition, and when they come to power, they don't have control over their natural resources, over their mineral resources. That has been our headache. So it's about time we use different channel of a governance that will be in control of themselves. Now, Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore is the one in control. He has chosen to go the Russia way. He has now chosen Russia as their allies. Ibrahim Traore has now chosen Russia as their allies. But here we are in Ghana, where we are always kissing the Western countries' ass. Whenever they shake, we shake. Whenever their currency shake, we shake. Africa, still imagine. That is why ECOWAS is fighting hard to bring back the three countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, to bring back to the ECOWAS community. But they are also refusing, because they have realized that ECOWAS community is being controlled by the Western countries. ECOWAS is being controlled by all these corporations. So they know when they come back to ECOWAS, they are going to be controlled. It's very sad. It's very sad because how things are going, if we don't take care, if we don't take care and change our destiny, the Pan-African spirit is going to fade because people are giving up. People are running away from Africa. But Africa can be the future of this world. Smoky days, we all work together, we can accomplish anything. Yes, that is why we have been yearning for Africa unity. Yesterday, when I came on live, I made mention of African unity. If Africa should have united, we should have been far ahead because in Africa, we can't even travel among ourselves. The countries, we share the borders they created. You can't even cross one border to different border. Traveling from Ghana to Ivory Coast is more harder than traveling from Ghana to Europe. Traveling from Ghana to London is more easier than traveling from Ghana to Kenya. So why can't we link ourselves? Why can't we create railways from Ghana to Togo, from Togo to Benin, from Benin to Nigeria, so that you can just take a train and go and do business in Nigeria and just come back? All these things has been restricted by those who control our political systems. They have made sure we don't progress. So we keep fighting among ourselves. Today you realize Ghana is fighting against Nigeria. Nigeria is fighting against Cote d'Ivoire. We keep fighting among ourselves. If we should have united, we should have controlled majority of the world resources. But look at us. We are always being mocked around the world. Africa is always being mocked around the world. Nothing is going right. We keep washing, how should I put it? We keep going circles. Our political system, that is what we have been doing. Mr. Kwablanji, there is no even a train from Kumasi to Accra because they chopped that is it. Even in Ghana, we don't even have train that travels from one city to another city. That is what Mr. Kwablanji is saying. We are, I don't know, but we have been caged. We have been caged. In Africa, every country has been caged to be in one corner. We can't do business together. We can't trade among ourselves. We keep going circles. I've seen multiple times that there will be whatever Ghana Italy summit, Africa Russia summit, Africa American summit, but you will never find Ghana Nigeria summit, Ghana Ivory Coast summit. You never find that. We are more closer to European countries than being closer to our own countries. Rotati, they didn't only divide the continent, they divided us. That is exactly the problem. They divided us. Keep sharing your thoughts. I'll be reading it. Smoky days. So basically, it's hard for your people to get around to earn a living. That is how we have been caged. We have been caged in one country. We can't stretch. Ghanaian can't just travel to Ivory Coast just to do business. You get it? then we can't travel. But imagine we bringing our resources together to build roads, to build railways that can link us together. We can achieve a lot. So the political systems we are practicing, is killing the continent. I don't know what type of democratic systems other Western countries practice, but me, what I've seen here, we are not even we are not the one choosing the leaders. I've said it earlier. We are not the one choosing the leaders. The leaders are being selected by their political party for us to choose between the two. Let me give you this perfect scenario. Now, the December election, what is going to happen in Ghana is we have a leader who has been president before. He was president between 2012 to 2016. We have tested him and have realized that this leader performed very poorly. So they voted against him. And we have a leader, the current government. The vice president is the one standing for the current government party. And we have also tested them and have realized that these leaders has performed poorly. These two leaders who we are going to choose between them has performed very poorly. The previous one performed poorly. This one has also performed poorly. But what is happening is we don't have options. Whatever happened, we have other independent parties. We have CPP, like what Kwabena J normally said. Yeah, but good luck, Kwabena J. We have other parties, but the other parties are not that popular than the two parties. So whatever happened, one of these parties are going to win the election to either maintain power or come back to power. So there won't be enough options for you to choose from. It's either you choose from the two evils and you will have to choose from the one who is lesser evil than the other. That is what I'm saying. The systems don't even allow us to select a leader whom we prefer. The systems always dictate who we should vote for. And that is why Africa is still struggling. Majority, the one thing they have also done is, as Smokey Day said, that they didn't just divide the continent, they divided us. One thing they also do is they have been able to divide the country into two through tribalism. We have these tribes that vote for this party, and we have another tribe that votes for this party. So most of the times, they also try to create tribal conflict between parties, between us, for us to vote for our tribal man. And that has also been affecting our way of selecting leaders in Ghana. So my question is, do you think this political system, which I mean the democratic political system, is something that will help Africa to develop? I'm throwing the question to anyone who is viewing. Do you think this political system, democratic political system we are practicing in Africa, is going to help Africa to develop? I know Americans practice democratic system, Germans practice democratic system, but for me, what I have seen in Africa, this system can never help us. We have another one, Ronnie Bowens. Same problem we are facing with here in America. I see. They also have their They also have their hands on your country. That's exactly what is happening here. The Western countries are controlling everything that comes out from Africa. Any leader that talks against the Western countries will be somehow tagged as a dictator. Any leader that resists, any resistance leader will be tagged as a dictator. Any leader who will talk against the Western country will be tagged as a dictator. And that is why they eliminated Muammar Gaddafi, the late Libyan president. They eliminated him because his vision for Africa was amazing. He wanted to create banks that will give African countries loans with small interest rates. But what happens to him? He was eliminated, and they were able to convince us that he was a dictator. Now, let me ask this question. Between when Muammar Gaddafi was the Libyan president till now, you can compare the situation in Libya now and also compare the situation in Libya then, and you realize that the country has been destroyed totally. The country has been destroyed totally. And that is something that we have to sit back and realize that the people we are dealing with are not interested in our well-being. The people whom we think they are the ones saving us are the ones who are destroying our continent. We have to be very careful. We have to be very careful because the world we see, right now, I only believe in things I believe in. I have my independent mind. I have my way of thinking. I don't just follow book. I don't follow book. I follow my intuitions. If I think this thing is not good for me. It's not good for me. Because I don't trust the world. When we were born into churches, we were born into religion. Currently, I've been asking a lot of questions, and no one is giving me answers. They tells you that these things you just have to believe, because that is what their forefathers left them. But not everything that I have to believe. I have to reason for myself. These systems we are practicing, the culture we are practicing, the religion we are following, all these things, if it doesn't make sense in your mind, you have to start asking questions. You have to start asking questions because most of the times, all these people, there is a hidden, let me put it, there is a hidden agenda of everything that is happening in this world. And that is what I have found out. We have been asking ourselves, how come Africans don't have good leaders? Since almost 30 years, we have been complaining about how come Africa don't have good leaders. It's about time we find out that it's not about the leaders, it's about the system. The system is not helping us to choose good leaders. The system are not helping us to choose leaders that can lead the country. We are not choosing patriotic leaders. We are just choosing corrupt leaders to control us. And all this system has been put together because the Western countries want to control our political systems. That's why I'm saying it's about time we think of a system that will benefit Africa. It's about time we think of a system that will make Africa progress. The African Americans, I know this my channel is being watched by most of the times African Americans, because when I go into my analytics, I found out that majority of my viewers are from US, and most of them who comment on my channel are African Americans. And I really appreciate that. I have seen that they have a lot of interest in Africans' affair, because majority think that here is their motherland. Majority wished they can come back and invest in Africa. Majority think that when they visit Africa, they find it peaceful. They find it a great environment that they can raise their kids. They find it that the environment can help them build a better future for their kids. They find out that this when they comes to Africa, here they find themselves, how should I put it? They can relate to the people who lives in Africa. That is what most African Americans normally think of Africa. But exactly, they try to move to Africa. The system will restrict them to enjoy the continent. Most of them will come back, will come here, and they will come and set up business. Things won't go well, and they will move back to their country. Most of the times when I listen to people's story that they came to Africa and they couldn't succeed, I feel very sad, because I know one day Africa is going to be one of the developed continents, and I wish that we are all going to be, both Africans in diaspora and Africans are all going to be at their quota to achieve this particular faith. But when they come, because of bad systems, so they end up going back, and most of them tells a very bad story about Africa. That is the scenario I'm trying to change from next year, and that's a promise. From next year, I'm trying to set up an agency that will make sure any African that comes, any African American, or anyone who wants to settle in Ghana, especially Ghana is where I am, I can add my best to help them maneuver their way around Ghana, so that they can succeed. I'll provide guides, because most of them, when they come here, they come and buy land, and at the end of the day, someone can dupe them. Some people face fraudsters. Most of them face fraudsters to sell them land that has already been sold to another person. Their land will end up being taken away from them. And when I hear all these stories, I normally feel sad. So I'm trying to put up organizations or an agency that will help support anyone who wants to settle down in Ghana or do business in Ghana and start improving our credibility, because now the names some of Africans are getting there are very bad. So Mr. D, I only see Mr. D. I'm Pan-African, so that's why I pay attention. That's true. If you are a Pan-African, you will feel very disturbed when you see Pan-Africans that are fighting among ourselves, when you see us dividing ourselves, when you see Africans fighting against African Americans, you will feel sad. Any Pan-African feel like we have to do better. We have to do better for us to come together, because we are far behind. Blacks across the world are far behind. Whenever you go to US, you are going to understand what I'm saying. Blacks in every country are far behind. It's about time we push. It's about time we unite. It's about time we contribute our quota to the continent of Africa for us to succeed. But before all this thing can be possible, it's about time we ask ourselves, is this political systems we are practicing going to help us? We need change. We need change. I think I've talked enough. Today topic was about democracy, the democratic systems we are practicing in Africa. I think I've talked enough, and I really appreciate everyone that came that came online to watch me. So let me give some shout outs to Rotati, Smoky Days, Mr. D, Kwabena J, Ronnie Bowens, all the people who were able to join me live. I do appreciate all of you. And I know yesterday I said, if you want to get in touch with me, you can go to my description box. If you go there, you are going to find my email address on catafricalive at gmail.com. On catafricalive at gmail.com. You go to my description, you are going to see even my number in there. I also appreciate anyone who has been supporting me. I do appreciate anyone who has been supporting me, especially Jeremy and all those who contribute some funds into my Buy Me Coffee and also add their super thanks. I do appreciate anyone who has been supporting. I will make sure tomorrow too I will come on live for us to discuss about different topic. These days there is a whole lot of topics. Yesterday was about South Africa and Nigeria feud that happens online because of Chidima and the other lady who won their Miss South African. There was a whole hit-up fight between South Africans and Nigerians, which was very distasteful, so I have to address this. Today is about the democratic systems we are practicing in Africa. I know tomorrow I'll come up with another topic for us to discuss. Please, if you also have any topic you want us to discuss, you can leave it in my comment section. I'll read. And anyone who also want to join me live for us to discuss something, you can also send me email on catafricalive.com. I will bring you here live for us to discuss about any topic which you want us to discuss. But it has to be about things surrounding Pan-Africanism. And when we talk about Pan-Africanism, it's not only about African content. It also goes in a way with the African Americans, because even Pan-Africanism, the founder of Pan-Africanism, who is Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was a Jamaican. So Pan-Africanism was birthed through Caribbean. So Pan-African, when we talk of Pan-Africanism, it's not about African stuff. It's about black people around the world. So anyone who wants to join me can send me email. I can bring you here for us to discuss whatever in your mind. So I will sign off, and I will sign off. So there is another Jackie. Thank you. Great content always. I appreciate anyone. I'll be here tomorrow again for us to discuss about the well-being of Africa and Africans in diaspora. I'm always your guy. You can also follow me on all social media at iamdegraft.com. iamdegraft.com. But my real name is Degraft Amwako. We will meet again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.